Story 1. I still don't know why we stopped for her. It was past midnight, and the forest road was so dark it felt like we were driving through a tunnel with no end. Mike and I were coming back from a quiet weekend at a lakeside cabin. Just the two of us. No phones, no noise. We were tired, happy, singing along to an old playlist. The headlights cut two thin white paths ahead, and everything else was black. Then we saw her. She stood on the edge of the road, perfectly still, one arm out with her thumb raised. A woman in a long white dress that looked almost glowing against the trees. Her skin was pale, too pale, and her hair hung wet and heavy down her back, even though it hadn't rained. Mike slowed the car. "Should we?" he asked. I hesitated. We were miles from anywhere. No other cars, no houses, just trees pressing in on both sides. But she looked cold. She looked alone. "We can't leave her here," I said. So we stopped. She opened the back door herself and slid in without a word. A wave of cold air followed her, like someone had opened a freezer. I shivered. "Where are you going?" Mike asked, glancing at her in the mirror. She spoke softly, almost a whisper. "Just a little farther, toward the old cemetery." I turned to look at her. Her eyes were down, hands folded neatly in her lap. The dress clung to her like she'd been caught in a storm. "You okay?" I asked. She nodded slowly. "There was an accident, years ago, on this road." Mike and I exchanged a quick look. We both knew the stories. Everyone who grew up around here did. A woman killed late at night. Car went off the road. They say she still walks, looking for a ride home. I laughed nervously. "You're messing with us, right?" She didn't answer. Mike started driving again. The silence felt heavy. I kept checking the rearview mirror. Something was wrong with her reflection. It flickered, like a bad signal on an old TV. One second she was there, the next she wasn't. Clear, then gone, then back again. I told myself it was just the passing trees. Shadows. Nothing more. Then the radio turned on by itself. At first it was just static. Loud, crackling static. Mike reached to turn it off, but the knob wouldn't move. The static grew louder, then changed into screams. High, sharp, terrified screams, layered over each other like many voices crying out at once. I covered my ears. Mike gripped the wheel tighter. The woman in the back didn't move. She just stared straight ahead and whispered, "Almost there." The cemetery gates appeared suddenly in the headlights, rusted iron, half open, weeds growing through the bars. Mike pulled over slowly. The screams from the radio stopped as soon as the car stopped. I turned around. The back seat was empty. Just a wet spot on the cushion, dark and spreading, and a small folded newspaper clipping lying where she'd been sitting. My hands shook as I picked it up. It was yellowed, old. A photo of a young woman. Same face, same white dress. The headline read, "Local woman dies in late-night crash." The date was exactly 20 years ago to the day. Mike stared at me, pale. "Sarah." I looked out the window. Nothing moved. No footsteps. No sign of her. "Let's go," I whispered. Mike shifted into drive and pressed the gas. The car didn't move. He tried again. The engine roared, tires spun, but we stayed in place, like something was holding us. I looked back at the cemetery. In the headlights, I saw her, standing just inside the gates, watching us. She raised one hand slowly, not waving, not beckoning, just waiting. Mike tried reverse. Nothing. Then the engine died completely. Silence. Cold crept into the car again, deeper this time. Frost began to form on the inside of the windows. I grabbed Mike's hand. "Drive," I said. "Just drive." He turned the key again and again. Nothing. Then, quietly, from the back seat, a whisper. "Thank you for the ride," we both screamed. The engine suddenly started. Mike slammed the gas, and we shot forward, tires screeching. I didn't look back. I couldn't. We drove for an hour without stopping. Didn't speak. didn't play music. When we finally reached the main highway and saw other cars, lights, life, I let myself breathe. But that wet spot? It never dried. And sometimes, late at night, when I'm alone in the car, I check the rearview mirror just to make sure the back seat is empty. Story 2. I still wake up sometimes hearing my name whispered in that fog. It was around 2 a.m. when everything went wrong. We were driving home through the mountain pass after spending New Year's with my sister's family. Tom was behind the wheel, I sat beside him, and the kids, Emily, 10, and Jack, 7, were half asleep in the back, wrapped in blankets. The road twisted higher and higher, and then the fog rolled in like someone poured milk over the world. Thick, heavy, glowing white in the headlights. You couldn't see 10 feet ahead. Tom slowed down. "This is bad," he muttered. "Really bad." I checked my phone. No signal, of course. These mountains eat signals for breakfast. Then the SUV coughed once, twice, and died. Just like that. Engine gone. Lights dimmed to nothing. We sat in total silence, the kind that presses on your ears. Tom tried the key a few times. Nothing. "Battery's fine," he said. "I'll look under the hood." I didn't want him to go out there. Something about the fog felt wrong, like it was watching us. But he grabbed the flashlight and stepped outside anyway, the door shut with a soft thud. I hit the locks immediately. Click. Safe. Emily stirred. "Mommy, why did we stop?" "It's okay, sweetie. Daddy's just checking the car. Go back to sleep." Jack whimpered. I reached back and squeezed his foot through the blanket. That's when I heard it. A whisper. Soft, far away, drifting through the fog. "Tom." My breath caught. It sounded like a woman's voice, or many voices together. Then again, clearer. "Tomb." I leaned toward the window, straining to see. Nothing but swirling white. Inside the car, the kids were quiet now, wide awake and scared. Emily clutched my arm. Another whisper. Closer this time. "Tomb, come out." Tom was still at the front, flashlight beam cutting weak lines through the mist. I saw his shape freeze. He heard it too. He turned slowly, shining the light around. The beam disappeared into the fog like it was swallowed. I rolled my window down an inch, just enough to call him. "Tom, get back in." He started toward the door, but then the whispers changed. They weren't calling him anymore. They were calling all of us. Lisa, Emily, Jack, join us. The voices came from every direction. Some high, some low, some like children, some old and cracked, all saying our names. Emily screamed. Jack started crying. I yanked the window up and locked it again. That's when the shapes appeared. First one, then two, then more. Tall shadows moving at the edge of the headlight's reach. Too tall. Arms too long. They didn't walk. They glided, stretching and bending in ways bodies shouldn't. One came close to my window. I couldn't look away. It pressed against the glass. A face, or what used to be a face. Skin gray and sagging, eyes sunken black holes, mouth open in a silent scream. It stared right at me and whispered, "Join the lost." Its fingers, long, thin, bony, tapped the window. Tap, tap, tap. More came, circling the car like wolves, tapping, scratching, pressing decayed faces against every window. Emily buried her head in my side. Jack sobbed into his blanket. I held them tight, whispering over and over, it's okay," even though nothing was okay. The fog grew thicker. I couldn't see the road anymore. Couldn't see Tom. "Tom!" I screamed. No answer. The things kept circling. One tried the door handle. It rattled. I checked the locks 10 times. Hours passed like that. Or minutes. Time stopped making sense. The cold crept in, even with the heat off. Frost crawled across the inside of the windows. The whispers never stopped. "Join us. You're already lost. Stay with us." I started to wonder if we were dreaming, if the fog had poisoned us, if we'd been in an accident and didn't know it yet. Emily fell quiet. Jack, too. They just clung to me, shaking. Then slowly, the fog began to lift. Not all at once, a little at first. Gray light seeped in. The shapes faded, stepping back into the mist until they were gone. The whispers stopped. Birds started chirping. Morning. I looked out. The road was empty. No footprints in the dirt. No sign anything had been there. Tom was slumped against the hood, flashlight on the ground. He looked up when I opened the door, pale and shaking. "I couldn't get back," he whispered. "They wouldn't let me." I helped him inside. The second he shut the door, the engine started on its own. We didn't speak the whole way home, just drove straight into the sunlight, leaving the past behind. But sometimes, when fog rolls in, even just a little, I hear it again. Soft, far away, Lisa, Emily, Jack, waiting. Story 3. I still check my rearview mirror every time those two lights appear behind me, even if it's just a semi-truck miles away. We were so happy that night. Jordan and I had just gotten married 3 days earlier, and we were driving back from our little honeymoon cabin in the mountains. It was about 1 a.m., the desert highway completely empty, stars everywhere above us. Music loud, windows down, warm wind rushing in. We were laughing, singing off-key, planning the rest of our lives like nothing could ever touch us. Then I saw them. 2 bright lights in the distance behind us. Far away at first, just tiny white dots. "Someone's coming up fast," I said. Jordan glanced in the mirror. "Probably wants to pass." We slowed a little to let them by. That's what you do out here. Be polite, give space, but the lights didn't pass. They got bigger, closer, way too fast. Jordan moved to the right lane. The lights stayed right behind us, almost touching our bumper. High beams on full blast, turning the inside of our car white. I squinted. "What the hell?" Jordan sped up again. The other vehicle sped up too. Same speed. No matter how fast we went, it stayed glued to us. "Pull over," I said. "Let them go around." Jordan signaled and eased onto the shoulder. Dust kicked up around us. The lights slowed, then bumped us. Not hard, just a tap on the rear bumper. Enough to jolt us forward. Jordan swore and pulled back onto the road. The lights followed. He floored it. I've never seen our car go that fast. The engine screamed. The desert blurred. But those lights never fell behind. They matched us perfectly, like they weren't even trying. Every time we tried to slow or pull off, they nudged us, light taps, almost playful, forcing us to keep going. My heart was pounding. "Jordan, what do they want?" He didn't answer, just gripped the wheel tighter. I looked in the side mirror, trying to see the driver. That's when I saw him. A hooded figure behind the wheel. No face, just darkness under the hood. But the eyes, 2 glowing points, red-orange, like coals burning in a fire, staring straight ahead, straight at us. I grabbed Jordan's arm. "There's no face! Jordan, there's no face!" He looked too. His foot slipped off the gas for a second. The lights rammed us harder this time. We lurched forward. The road started twisting as we hit the canyons. Sharp turns, drop-offs on both sides. Our car was overheating, steam hissing from under the hood, warning lights flashing red. Jordan kept pushing it. Then, without warning, our engine died. Everything went quiet. No power steering, no lights, no music. We coasted to a slow stop in the middle of the road. The bright lights behind us vanished, just gone. I looked around, breathing hard. Nothing but black desert and stars. Jordan tried the key. Dead. Completely dead. We sat there in silence, waiting for the other vehicle to come back, to pass us, to do something. Minutes passed. Then I saw them again, the same 2 lights, but now in front of us, appearing out of nowhere, blocking the road 50 feet ahead. The vehicle just sat there, engine off, lights burning into our eyes. Jordan reached for his phone. No signal. Of course, we didn't speak, couldn't, The driver's door opened slowly. The hooded figure stepped out, tall, too tall. The robe hung loose, moving like there was wind, but the air was dead still. It started walking toward us. Slow steps. No sound. Then we heard the laughter. Low at first, coming from everywhere and nowhere. Deep, echoing, like it was inside the car with us. Growing louder, colder. The figure stopped halfway between the vehicles. It raised one arm and pointed at us. The laughter turned into words, whispers that filled the car. You went too far. Now you stay. The headlights of the other vehicle went dark. Everything went black. I don't remember screaming. I don't remember much after that. Just cold. And those glowing eyes getting closer. When the sun came up hours later, a trucker found us on the side of the road. Our car was running again. Doors locked from the inside. No damage. No dust on the bumper. We were both awake, holding each other, shaking. The trucker said we were lucky. Lots of people disappear on this stretch at night. He told us the old story, about a thing that wears a hood, that chases travelers who drive too late, that plays with them until they break, then takes them. We drove home in daylight and never took that road again. But sometimes when we're driving at night, anywhere, I see two lights behind us, far away at first, getting closer, and I hear that laughter, soft and low. Waiting. Story 4. I still can't drive past a rest stop without my stomach twisting. It was around 3 a.m, and we were all exhausted. The family reunion had run late. Too much food, too many hugs, too many stories. Me, Miguel, our teenage daughter Sofia, and little Diego, who was only 6. We were cutting across empty farmland to get home faster, just cornfields and stars for miles. Diego started squirming in his booster seat. "Mommy, I have to pee. Bad." Miguel sighed. "Okay, mijo. Next place we see." A minute later, a faded sign appeared. Rest Area 1 mile. The parking lot was almost empty, lit by a couple of buzzing fluorescent lights that flickered like they were dying. Only one other car, way off in the shadows, covered in dust. We pulled in. The place felt wrong right away, too quiet. The air smelled like old metal and wet concrete. Miguel took Diego toward the bathrooms. Sofia and I stayed by the car, stretching our legs. The building was small, 2 doors, men and women, both with heavy padlocks. "Locked?" I called. Miguel rattled the men's door. "Yeah, hang on." He wedged his pocket knife in and popped the lock. The door creaked open into darkness. I didn't like it, but Diego was dancing now, so they went in. Sofia leaned against the car, scrolling on her phone. No signal, just games. That's when I heard the scratching. Soft at first, like fingernails on thin metal. Coming from the vents above the bathrooms, I looked up. Nothing. Just rusted grates, scratch, scratch, scratch. Closer now. "Sofia, get back in the car." She rolled her eyes but climbed in. I stayed outside watching the men's door. Then Diego screamed, high and sharp. My heart stopped. Miguel burst out carrying him, both pale. "Carla, get in the car, now." What happened? He didn't answer until we were all inside, doors locked. "The walls," he whispered. "Writing everywhere. Don't look in the mirrors. They watch. Run." All scratched in, like with keys or nails. Blood in some places. Sofia made a scared noise. Diego was crying quietly. I looked toward the bathroom. The door was still open, swinging a little. Then Sofia gasped. She was staring at the side mirror. "What?" My reflection. Her voice shook. It smiled, but I wasn't smiling. I turned. In the mirror, Sofia's face looked normal, but for a second, just a second, her eyes went black, completely black, and her mouth stretched too wide, grinning like something inside her was happy we were here. She screamed. Miguel tried to start the car. Nothing. Dead. He turned the key again and again. Lights dimmed, then nothing. That's when the figures came out. First one, then three, then more. Stepping from behind the building, from the shadows of the vending machines, from the empty parking spaces. People shapes, but wrong. Clothes old and torn, skin gray. Moving slow like they had all the time in the world. They walked toward us. One pressed his face to my window. A man, maybe 40, eyes milky, mouth sewn shut with rough stitches. He raised a hand and tapped the glass. Tap, tap, tap. More joined him. A woman with a slashed throat. A teenage boy missing half his face. All staring, all smiling in their broken ways. Then the whispers started. Through the glass, through the vents, through the cracks. Stay forever. Play with us. We waited so long for a family. Miguel held my hand tight. Sophia hugged Diego, both crying. The thing started pounding. Not hard, just steady. Thump, 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 like they knew we couldn't get away. I remembered the stories people tell about this stretch. A killer years ago. Stopped here, took families. No one ever found the bodies. These were them. His victims, trapped here, bringing others to join. The pounding went on for hours. The lights outside flickered and died. Inside the car, it got colder and colder. Frost on the windows. We didn't talk much, just held each other. Prayed. I started thinking maybe we were already dead. Maybe we'd crashed and didn't know it. Then, just as the sky turned gray, headlights appeared on the highway. A big semi-truck rumbled toward the rest area, air brakes hissing. The figures stopped pounding. They turned toward the light, then stepped back, slowly like smoke, melting into the shadows. The truck pulled in, engine loud. A man climbed out, stretching, heading for the bathrooms. Our car started on the first try. Miguel didn't wait. He threw it in drive and we peeled out, tires squealing. We didn't stop until we saw sunrise and other cars. The trucker probably never knew he saved us. But every time we pass a rest stop now, even in daylight, I lock the doors. And I never, ever look in the mirrors. Because sometimes, just for a second, I see them in the reflection. Waiting. Smiling. Story 5. I still hear the chanting when I close my eyes. Ben and I wanted one perfect night. We were in our 30s, married 5 years, and life had gotten busy. Work, bills, the usual. So we decided on a late-night drive. Just us, no kids, no phones if we could help it. Midnight, windows down, quiet music, taking the scenic route the GPS suggested through woods we'd never seen before. The paved road ended sooner than we expected. The voice on the phone said, "Continue straight." So we did. The path turned narrow, bumpy, unpaved. Trees closed in like walls. Headlights bounced over roots and rocks. "It's fine," Ben laughed. "Adventure, right?" I smiled, but something felt off. The air smelled thick like wet leaves and something sour underneath. Then the GPS glitched. The screen flickered. The voice repeated recalculating over and over, then went silent. The arrow pointed deeper into the dark. We kept going. What else could we do? The path got worse. Tires spun on mud. Finally, it just stopped. An overgrown clearing, weeds tall as the car, trees all around like a circle. Ben tried to turn around. The car lurched, then sank. Back wheels stuck deep in mud. Engine revved, but we didn't move. "Great," he muttered. "I'll check it out." He grabbed the flashlight and stepped outside. The door shut with a soft thunk. I locked it behind him. At first, everything was quiet. Just crickets. Then came the howl. Low and long, not like any animal I knew. It rolled through the trees, answered by another, closer. Then another. I leaned forward, heart beating fast. Ben. His light bobbed between the trunks. He was looking at something on the trees. The howls stopped. Silence felt heavier. Something brushed my leg, soft, like fingers. Under the driver's seat, I froze. Nothing there when I looked, just shadows. But I pulled my feet up onto the seat anyway. Ben came running back. He yanked the door open and jumped in, breathing hard. Blood ran down his arms, long scratches, like claws had raked him. "Drive," he gasped. "Just drive." What happened? The trees, symbols carved in them, circles, weird writing. They're glowing, faint green. And Rachel? The trees moved. Branches reached for me. I stared at him. Trees don't move. They did. He tried reverse again. Wheels spun. Mud sucked us deeper. Then we heard it, chanting. Low voices, many together, coming from the trees. Not English. Not any language I knew. Slow, rising and falling, like a song with no end. Shapes stepped into the clearing. People in dark robes, hoods up, faces hidden. At least 10, maybe more. They moved into a circle around the car, hands raised. The chanting got louder. One stepped closer. I saw pale hands under the sleeves, fingers too long, nails black and sharp. Ben shifted to drive. "We're getting out." But the mud. He floored it. The car roared forward, crashing through weeds and small trees. Branches scraped the sides like nails on metal. Something hit the roof, hard. The robed figures didn't move out of the way. They just stood, chanting, arms out. We hit the edge of the clearing and smashed through underbrush. Twigs snapped, leaves exploded against the windows. The car bounced and slid, but kept going. I looked back. They were following. Not running, just walking. Steady, like they knew we couldn't really escape. The path reappeared somehow. We shot onto it, mud flying, and Ben didn't slow down until the trees thinned and we hit pavement again. We drove straight home, didn't talk, didn't stop. The scratches on Ben's arms healed slow, deep, like they were burned in. We never took that route again. Deleted the GPS app. Told ourselves it was a bad dream, but the chanting comes back. Late at night when the house is quiet, I hear it. Soft, far away at first, then closer. Words I don't understand, but somehow know. Calling my name, calling Ben's, waiting for us to come back, because we saw and the forest remembers. Story 6. I still drive over bridges with my eyes closed, waiting for the pull. It was 4 a.m., and we were chasing the dawn to beat holiday traffic. Me and Henry up front, our son Chris and his girlfriend Mia in the back, all bleary-eyed from a late family dinner across state lines. Chris had proposed to Mia just last week, so the air hummed with that new love buzz even in the dark. The highway dipped into a valley, and there it was, the old, whispering bridge. Rickety wooden spans, iron trusses rusted red, swaying over a black river like it might snap any second. Locals whispered about it, ghosts of a family who plunged off decades ago, on a night just like this. I laughed it off as we approached. Folklore for tourists. Henry gripped the wheel tighter. Almost across, the tires hummed on the planks. Then the shaking started. Not bumps, something deeper, like the bridge itself was trembling, alive and angry. The whole car rattled, seats vibrating under us. Mia sat up. "What's that?" Before anyone could answer, the radio crackled to life. We hadn't touched it. Static hissed, then a woman's voice cut through, clear, desperate, pleading. "Help us!" The car spun. "We're falling! The water's so cold!" It wasn't a song or a station. The voice gasped, describing it all. Brakes failing on ice, a sharp turn, screams as they tumbled over the rail. A family of 4. Mom, Dad, 2 kids. Exactly 40 years ago that night. The words twisted with pain, ending in a wet, gurgling splash. Chris fumbled to turn it off. "What the hell?" The bridge lights, faded yellow bulbs strung along the sides, flicked once, twice, then died. Pitch black. Our headlights alone pierced the void, casting long shadows that danced like fingers. Then they appeared, translucent at first, like fog given shape. 4 figures, stepping from the edges of the bridge, a man in an old coat reaching out. A woman beside him, arms wide. 2 children, small and pale, hands clasped. They weren't solid, edges blurred, faces soft, but their eyes locked on us, hungry. They moved closer, through the rails, toward the car. Mia screamed first. "They're here! Oh God, they're—" Her words choked off. In the back seat, she thrashed, yanking her arm away from something invisible. But I saw it. Icy fingers, blue-white and translucent, wrapped around her wrist. Pulling, hard, toward the window, toward the drop. "Mia!" Chris lunged for her, but the seatbelt held him back. Henry slammed the gas. The engine roared, but we barely crawled forward. The car felt heavy, sinking, like extra weight pressed on the roof and hood. Invisible passengers, shifting, settling in. A child's giggle echoed, faint and wrong. The apparitions pressed against the glass. The woman's face filled my window, young, pretty once, now hollow-cheeked, lips blue. She mouthed words, and suddenly they weren't silent anymore. Whispers filled the cabin, not from outside, from everywhere, inside our heads. We were like you, happy. Then the night took us. The father's voice, gravelly. Ice on the road. One slip. Gone. The children, overlapping sing-song, "Come play in the water. It's forever cold. Join our family." The mother's plea turned curse. "You heard us. You saw. Now you stay. The bridge needs 4 more. Mia sobbed, clawing at the hand on her arm. It dragged her closer to the door, the lock rattling like it might give. Chris pounded the window, yelling, but his fists passed through empty air. Henry prayed under his breath, foot mashing the pedal. "Come on, come on." The weight grew. The car groaned, tilting toward the rail. Below, the river churned, black and endless, whispering back. I grabbed the wheel with him. "Faster!" Inch by inch, we crept. The ghosts clustered thicker, hands phasing through metal, brushing our skin, cold fire, burning numb. One child's face pressed to the windshield, eyes wide, mouth a silent "oh." "Stay." Then a crack. Not the bridge, the air, like glass breaking in slow motion. The whispers peaked, a chorus of rage and sorrow. "You can't leave. We waited so long." But Henry wrenched the wheel, and we surged. The tires caught grip on the far planks. The car shot forward, apparitions thinning, hands slipping free. Mia collapsed against Chris, arm bruised blue where the fingers had gripped. We burst onto solid ground, brakes screeching as Henry pulled over. Gasping, shaking, we piled out into the pre-dawn chill. I looked back. The bridge was collapsing. Planks splintered, trusses twisted, the whole span folding into the river with a roar like thunder. Dust and debris rained down, the lights shattered forever. It was gone. We stood there, numb, until the sky lightened. Chris called for help. No signal, of course. Mia wrapped her arms around herself, whispering about the cold that wouldn't leave her skin. By morning, when a tow truck finally came, the bridge was back, intact. Lights humming faintly, not a splinter out of place. The driver shrugged. Always like that. Folklore says it rebuilds itself, waiting. We drove the long way home, never crossed it again. But some nights when rain taps the window, I hear the radio static, the plea, and I feel the weight, pulling. For more stories like this, like, share, and subscribe Goofy Horror.